and Korge on Onside Radio.
Welcome to Romberg and Andy Korge. Thanks for joining us here today in the Miami Community Newspaper studios, and we got a great show for you. My buddy next to me, Brett Romberg, and your buddy next to you, another Cane, a lineman. We're going to talk a little bit about the Canes and what's going on there, and just, we're getting in the holiday spirit here at Miami Community Newspapers and on Onside Radio. So you got our good friend Joaquin Gonzalez joining us today here. Joaquin, thank you. Brett, thank you guys for coming in.
Yeah, man, I thought it's only fitting, you know what I mean? Especially this time of year and the city that we all are blessed to live in. And a lot of people from the rest of the, I don't know what you say, north of Dade County lines aren't really too familiar of what's going on with Noche Buena down here in South Florida. So especially like my Canadian co-parts, they always want to know what the hell's going on during the Christmas holiday and stuff. Plus we got a lot of the Jewish faith as well that really has some kind of issue with the holiday season when it comes to this time of year.
Why do you look at Grant Miller every time you mention Jewish?
How many other
why
Jews
is
are in
that?
the room?
I don't go to Chinese food.
You look every time
Not
you
this
mention
year anyway, you bugger.
every time you mention Jewish, you look at the Jerry Stiller of South Florida himself.
It's unbelievable the spitting image that he is. The more and more you keep saying Jerry Stiller and like the way that he acts and stuff, it's incredible. Reincarnated. I know, R.I.P. to Jerry Stiller, right? He passed away this year, didn't he?
Yeah, he did this year.
Too soon.
He was really funny, much as Grant Miller is.
Of course.
One of a kind. But we got one of a kind. You guys, hey, the guys from the line, the trenches of definitely the last great University of Miami team.
Probably half of the stories of the best part of my life, to be honest with you, involved this guy right next to me, whether it was him, his family members, his brother, you name it. Something would always involve the Gonzalez's down here in South Florida. So he basically was daunted the task of teaching the gringo that was from Canadian areas. So we're really not gringos, right? We're like Canadiense. Canadiense is what we're kind of pajaritos, nice. So if at that point in time, I thought every Spanish person was Mexican, which is obviously extremely dead wrong and ignorant. And then moving forward, his mom would lose her mind. I remember the one time when Elian Gonzalez had his situation down here in South Florida and my dad was down fishing. He created a war to the point where I was almost banished from the Gonzalez.
In the Keys.
We're in Locayo hanging out fishing. We just came back from a fishing trip.
Dude, imagine this poor man has no clue the household that he is hanging out in. And he blurts out, he's like, they should just let that kid go back.
Send him back. Send him back. Let him be with his dad. Send him back.
My mom stopped frying a croqueta.
Yeah, she tried to stop him. He tried to slap my old man. My old man's like, what the hell's going on here, man?
That is shocking.
Just do not say that, man.
That is shocking, Joaquin, that Brett here would say something politically incorrect. I just can't even imagine that.
No, what are the chances? The apple didn't fall far from the tree with me and the old man, to be honest with you. But yeah, it was amazing. Every weekend was almost especially in the off season. The weekends were rewarded with going to his family's home in Key Largo. That was it. It was this Canadian kid showed up in January, went from shoveling a driveway to laying bare ass naked underneath Butch Davis's window at the University of Miami on the AstroTurf. And then on the weekends going snorkeling, diving, and fishing in the Keys. Like it was
how was that, Joaquin? Just exactly how maybe diffunctional is your family to have brought him into your life? I mean,
tell me about it. No, you know what?
If you knew his family, they're pretty dysfunctional too. Mima's a piece of work.
What's that old saying? It's like God
makes better in Spanish.
Yeah, el diablo los hace, or Dios los hace, y el diablo los junta, which means God makes them and the devil puts them together. So that's exactly what happened with Brett. When he came here, he was, missing home. So it was my job as a local resident, as a homeschool kid that was staying here, to bring everybody along, not just him, but Bibla and all these guys and the Keys. Growing up down here, my parents were fortunate enough to have a place in the Keys. That's where we would head down every weekend. So that gave us a place to kind of rally around. And I don't think you'd ever been deep sea fishing.
Never in my life.
First time I was with Tony, with my brother. So that's where he got his love for, and his dad. So being able to share that with everybody was awesome. And I think brought us closer together, doing all these things. We weren't out there, everybody kind of doing their own thing. It really gave us something to rally around.
And it wasn't like something like super like fino too. It wasn't like you get back and you're all vamos, let's go take a shower and get ready to go to dinner. No, Mima's out there with the fryer, frita de masita de puerco, like frying the chunks of pork. Tony's cleaning the dolphin. We get ready to cook some dolphin fingers.
And I think that
Dominoes, the Dominoes all day long, and getting wasted, getting polluted until like 1 o'clock in the morning to get up to go fishing at 5:36.
Yeah, I think that's key. You know, it's such a great point, Brett. The fact that, you know, it wasn't like a high class joint where they were like, you know, you just went to like, it wasn't a resort style place. It was like a blue collar vacation home, if there's such a thing. Where
I don't think your brother wore underwear not once. I think he wore like fishing shorts like I got on, and that's it.
And
like no shirt, no
shirt for the weekend. That's right. Absolutely. That was the
Sin ropa.
Keys gear, brother. Keys gear. That's what it's all about.
That's it.
So it was awesome. Those days of my life is like, man, it was such a blast to have those guys there. And
do you think it was important in terms of, I mean, legendary team, 2000, 2001, maybe the greatest collection of talent ever on a college football team. Do you think, you know, what you did, Joaquin, really bonded you guys together as a unit? I mean, you need that as an offensive line.
Absolutely. I think that, you know, time away from whatever it is that you're into, and if you get to spend it with the guys that you're kind of collectively trying to build on something, I think you get to know guys at a personal level, and it makes it that much more important to you and to them to not let each other down. So I think that definitely, you know, you see all these videos of team building exercises. Well, we were team building all the time because we were always together, whether it was at the bar, going fishing, wherever. We were always together, good, bad, or worse. We were together, and we were kind of living our experiences. And that's why.
Are you getting into sexual?
No, not yet. We'll get into that a little bit later, but that's from the 912 block.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was good times, like he said. I mean, all of our experience. I look back, and he's in half of them. You know, half of my stories. So like, he's gonna call bullshit on half of them.
It really is, and I'll even stress this with the corporate level too. Like, you know, you always have these like corporate retreats and meetings to try to build that camaraderie. But a work relationship is a work relationship.
Right.
You could have a really good work relationship. You could really love the guy that you work with or the girl that you work with. But when you're accountable outside of that building and you're doing stuff outside of work-related activities and tasks, and you're still striving to have good times, be accountable, be a good guy, be a good person, that building of that camaraderie and that cohesion is just, it's like next level. And that's really what we all had. And it was regardless of race. Like, you know, you always have people nowadays that are like really picky and choosy about who they're hanging out with click-wise. Back in the day, we would go to the Rolex, we would go to Coco's, which for people that are down here in South Florida, not too many white-skinned individuals like myself would be attending these kind of places, alone anyway.
Yes, and you are very white.
But yeah, I'm not white. Dude, I'm Norwegian Canadian. It doesn't get much. He's brown.
He's in the middle.
I get to pick wherever I want to go. Bro.
Chameleon, whatever suits him. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's the way it went down. And like, we would get all the guys to come into like to Sandbar on White Trash Wednesdays, when they would have like you know, wet t-shirt contests and stuff like that. In Coconut Grove, we'd have like hood dudes coming from Carroll City, straight Corn Road back. Can you explain to
Vicente what a wet t-shirt contest entails?
It's basically when you're like super sweaty when you're going to the bars in July, and you're just you know, super sudando. I know. Not ready. He ain't ready for that yet. But yeah, we've judged many of the super wet t-shirt contests from like, you know, guys like Sherko getting super sweaty.
Hello.
See-throughs.
Well, since I've heard about the shaving incident already, I don't know that I want to hear more about Sherko.
You could really, honest to God, I'm not going to lie to you. Joaquin has done the wonderful thing of collecting video camera footage that he took during college years. And I'm talking everything from walking into my house when we were 19 years old, getting ready to drive to the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, carpooling together.
My mom almost throwing up for Juice's stank.
My old roommate who rode with us, who drove most of the way, literally would be able to stand his socks up on end, and he would lean him against the door outside. That's how disgusting this man was. By the way, he's in our community now. He's still here. He's teaching kids. He's teaching
principal.
He's a principal.
Oh, well, that makes me feel good about our education system.
Phenomenal. And he would sweat so much that his nickname was Juice. Like literally Juice. So we have footage of that, the Rose Bowl, obviously all of our bowl games that we've ever attended, stuff like vacations him and I would go on. It's this bond.
What is it like as an athlete to be there on the field of the Rose Bowl and get that big trophy? I mean, what does that feel like? How could you put it in words?
Man, you know what? It's kind of anticlimactic. I'll be honest with you.
Because
like,
it was an end of something.
Yeah, it was as much as you wanted to win it. I mean, we worked so hard to get to that point. And once we got it, it's like, for me, it was a little bit different. He was still a year younger, so he had one more year to come back to and stay with those guys. For me, it was kind of like the passing of the torch. And I quickly learned in the NFL, that
it's a business.
It's a business, and it's a business quick. So, I thoroughly enjoyed my years at the university way more than I did in the NFL. The pay was greater in the NFL, but at the end of the day,
You saying we got paid in college?
what? But what I'm getting at is, the love of the game, and everybody talks about it, but it's true, man. When we won it, it was like, well, what next? And even though my life was great and the ability to go and play pro ball, but it was kind of like a chapter where I was leaving guys like this behind.
Remember we had this conversation when I was saying, like, I really have a special affliction for the Tom Brady's of the world, the guys that have won, the guys that have done it. And like, for instance, I mentioned the guy from Amazon there, Bezos. Like, what is making him wake up every day and want to consume and do more? Like the Bill Gates is like the guys, obviously developing vaccines.
They're already on top. They're already on the top of
they've
Mount
already
Rushmore.
reached it.
Right.
So what's next? You know what I mean? Like, what is the next thing?
Yeah, listen, I'm with you. I don't know, but hey, we got Joaquin Gonzalez.
Yeah, man, we got to get into the Noche Buena thing
with Romberg and Korge. And Joaquin, as we know, is a local product. Went right down the street here to Christopher Columbus High School, and we got a little bit of a surprise guest coming in to greet Joaquin and be a part of the show. He's going to take my seat for a second after this announcement and get into maybe a little high school talk as well would be great. So start your morning every day at 6 a.m. with 4th and 20 with Toast and Marsh. The boys cover all the local sports stories while providing some great Miami Hurricanes insight. Download, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. 4th and 20, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. only at OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to Romberg and Korge. Take Onside Radio your home for sports talk everywhere with the MyTuner Radio app. Find the app at OnsideRadio.com. Listen to OnsideRadio.com anywhere by downloading the MyTuner Radio app in your app store. Or go to MyTunerRadio.com on your web browser. OnsideRadio.com. South Florida sports leader.
Hey everybody, it's Good Greek Moving and Storage, and for over 2 decades, they've been entrusted to handle all of your moving and storage needs. And now, Good Greek is the official mover of Inter Miami CF. And if Inter Miami trusted Good Greek, you should too. For the best move ever, whether it's across town or across the country, go to GreekMoving.com. That's GreekMoving.com for Good Greek Moving and Storage, the official movers of your Inter Miami CF.
We live in challenging times, and we understand you have questions about how you're going to take care of your family and yourself. Well, you can trust the Publix is doing everything possible to help. Our stores continue to be open. We're busy restocking as quickly as we can. But please remember to think of others as you shop for the week ahead. This will give your friends and neighbors the opportunity to get what they need as well. Our supply chains are strong, deliveries are being made throughout the day, and our associates are here every step of the way. It's not always going to be perfect, but together we'll make it through this. So let's be safe. Let's be calm. Let's be kind. Visit Publix.com for all the latest information.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this. Visit cityfurniture.com.
At Baptist Health, we are ready
to serve, to treat,
to safely proceed with your procedure.
We're ready for ER visits and office visits with skilled surgeons, advanced medicine,
and multidisciplinary teams. We're ready for new arrivals
and new recoveries.
We are ready.
We're ready to diagnose, treat, and manage
anything that comes our way
with exceptional care and comfort.
With the same preparedness and compassion you've come to expect from Baptist Health.
And we are ready.
We're ready.
We're ready
to care for you.
Welcome back to Romberg and Korge. To reach out to the guys, send a text to 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. This is Romberg and Korge on Onside Radio.
Yeah, baby, you got a little Canadian music for me. Glad you're always so sweet on me, man. Playing all kinds of stuff. KRS-One to now he's playing Rush. Oh, shout out to R.I.P. to the drummer of Rush. I can't remember what his name is, but he passed this year as well. God damn, there's a lot of Neil Peart. Yeah, a lot of guys ended up going down for the count this year.
Yeah.
That's a good way to express. That's a good way to express it. A good South Florida way to express it. Speaking of South Florida, we are joined by Coach Merritt, former coach at Columbus High School, now currently with Brian up there in Rhode Island. Coach, welcome, first of all, and glad to be back down south. I imagine the weather, even though we're in a cold front, it's got to be night and day different.
Oh, and this is cold?
Yeah, I know 72, 73
is. Come on up, I'll show you some cold right now.
When you see the Hispanics out in leather boots and the leather chaps.
When the winter jackets are sold out of every store down here.
You know it.
News is telling you to bring your pets in and wrap your plants. Yeah, 71 degrees down here right now. It's pretty chilly. But yeah, you guys, you mentioned something during the break that was really cool to hear. I haven't spoken to anybody that has done or elected to do that, skip the fall season and elect to go ahead and start a spring in January and try to go a quick back-to-back. Basically 2 seasons in one year, actually. And you guys have elected to do that up at Bryant.
Yeah, well, most of FCF football did. I mean, that's the whole deal. There's only about maybe 5 or 6, 7 teams that played in the fall. And there's a chance they could play in the spring, but most of our level of football, the Patriot Leagues, FCS ball around the country is going to try for a spring season.
And I remember when I was actually covering a lot of this at the very beginning of the season where, they were jockeying ultimately, and everybody was waiting on the SEC, the Big 10, the Big 12 to find out what was going to be going on, especially when it came to the college playoff situation. And I was a color commentator for Conference USA for a few years, so I was paying attention to those guys, seeing what was going to happen with FIU and that down here. And it really was a merry-go-round, but I was glad to see that we actually had some kind of sports. And I knew it was going to be an issue. I knew the whole COVID thing was going to be an issue with athletics just from being on a college campus, to be honest with you, and the student body. Did Bryant continue doing in-class learning, or did they do everything remotely?
No, we're very fortunate. We have a closed campus. We got one entry, one exit, and we had our own little bubble, 4,000 students. So
nice.
we escaped. We had one positive on our team the entire fall. So we were very fortunate. See, schools our level, and the reason why most FCS schools made the decision is that students living on campus is so vital to their financial stability.
Right.
We had no choice. So, that led to the decision for us to push football to the spring. 500 student athletes out of 4,000 students. That's a good chunk.
Yeah, it is.
They had to get them on campus.
That's a lot. That's a lot of athletes, man. So let's get into a little bit of this Columbus. So Joaquin, when you were at Columbus, it was what, 94 to 97?
I got there 93, 94. Yeah, I graduated in 97. You're right.
What was your years like at Columbus in terms of record-wise? Like,
we sucked.
You guys were bad?
Yeah, we sucked. We were
well, if you were one of the freaking head honchos coming out of Columbus, then yeah, obviously that could have been probably the issue. You know what I mean? I could imagine the record.
Yeah, man.
So they became really good after that, or were they always just like a bunch of like well-off Cuban kids that would just go to a private school and hang out?
Man, I don't know how to say
not
this.
To throw a stone or not, but
I don't know how to say this, but I don't know. After I left, we started getting some quicker guys. I don't know.
Oh, the fast twitch guys.
The fast twitch guys.
Oh, I know those guys.
So we were pretty good on like the offensive line. We got a couple.
You got rid of the Cuban gene. For the most, well, actually, the skilled position Cuban.
When Jason's your running back, Jason. Come on, Jason.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was.
No, he was not.
So that goes to tell you. I mean, our quarterback had a modeling contract after high school. Yeah, he was very lindo,
super lindo.
Couldn't throw the ball. So
super dulce.
We had issues at the key positions that you need to win games at.
Yeah, usually, yeah. Running backs and quarterbacks are pretty imperative when it comes to running stuff. So when you left and came to the University of Miami, it was 97, 98, right?
Correct.
And then in the year 2001 is when you showed up at Christopher Columbus. So could you explain to me the difference or the dynamic of, mediocre to, okay, you guys weren't like horrible. You were okay. You're
I mean, I think we were just like at 500 or just one game under 500. I mean, when you got there, it was pretty bad. I mean, you kind of were part of turning the program a little bit around.
Well, Dave Dunn was the guy that I replaced.
Right.
I mean, Correct. It wasn't Dennis Lavelle. It was Dave. David come in after Joaquin's coach.
Correct.
Dave Dunn's now the current head coach at Columbus. So he just handed me the baton for 18 years.
Right.
And it was a deal where, to be honest, listen, no matter what their record was when Joaquin played, one of the things that I really enjoyed about the job was it didn't matter who we played. The other team knew they were in a game.
So there was a level of physicality that Columbus kids were bringing
that I enjoyed. You start looking at the Darth Vader of the Force. That's what I loved about Columbus. That's what I loved about the aura. And to be honest with you, it's what we fed off of, was being the hated ones in Dade County. Regardless of what the record was,
right?
It didn't matter who we played. At the end of the day, they knew they were in a ball game, and they knew they were just in a ball game.
I remember everybody trying to get me to go to Columbus games, and like the amount of fathers that were like, going to my son's game tonight. And I was just like, relax, man. Come. Like, it was almost like he was suiting up. You know what I mean? So there must have been. Is it one of the things where, okay, if you have a son in South Florida, it's whatever with the Westminsters, it's whatever. You're not going to go to Ransom unless you're like a hoity-toity kid. And then is it Columbus? Like,
well, I think Columbus
or bust?
Well, no, Columbus gives you the opportunity. Back then, it was only 6A. Now I think it's up to 8A. So it's the opportunity because Columbus, even though it's an all-boys school, they get multiplied times 2 to get measured up in terms of what classification. So that was back then when I played. So if we had 1,300 boys, it's like if we were a 2,600 unit school.
Got it.
So that's why we were able to play, and we were able to play against Southridge, Killian, Norland, and you're playing big time football. So, and absolutely, even though we didn't have the record my years, I echo what Coach Merritt said. We were always tough. We just weren't talented enough. But what we lacked in talent, we definitely made it an effort. So we were always in the games, and we were tough people to to hang with. And, we were known as like the crazy, Hispanic kids from 87th and Coral Way. And it really was. And it only took, it's funny, Coach Dunn, because when I am 97, which was my senior year at Columbus, Coach Dunn was recruiting me to go to Harvard. Coach Dunn was
he's the one that ended up going up there. Okay,
yeah. So the first time Coach Dunn has Cuban food was actually at my house that Mima made for him. So that's funny. I swear to you. So he came down.
Mima's got that special sauce.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
So it's funny, I don't go, my story. So, but he ends up coming down here, and then Coach Merritt takes his place. And like he said, you were there for 18 years.
Yeah.
That's
a
long time.
Freaking. That's a lot of parents to deal with. Can you tell me, like, because here's my problem. I'm a big, I don't know if you could say, proponent to, and we've gone over this in the show before. I feel like, and you've been firsthand to witness this, being a coach, almost being that father figure mentor that a lot of kids need when it comes to after school activities. And you've worn that hat for many, many years. How have you noticed, whether it's a decline, a status quo, or an incline, on how much more you need to be more involved with the psyche of a young man versus being the raw, physical, barking, militant style of coaching nowadays?
Well, I could tell you the number one thing that's changed everything is social media. I mean, that's the one.
Is it a hard time to get these kids off the freaking phone? Like, isn't it unbelievable?
Well, that's
or what they care about being on the phone?
It's like this. And I think Columbus is a special place. We could say things to these players at Columbus that I would not say at a lot of places.
Got it.
That's just the culture that we had in the school. It was a tough, and you were coached tough. The problem is that as social media became prevalent, and you have to coach a kid now, you criticize a young man, it's like you're getting on his Twitter and blasting him. Like, they can't separate between coaching and
they're thinking it's public shame as opposed to constructive criticism.
And so that's why we got into a mode at Columbus where we would call the kids by their jersey number so they could differentiate.
Okay.
Hey,
psychologically, yeah, I guess that might work, right?
12,
yeah, as opposed to calling their name out.
Exactly.
I was talking about this to somebody. If I was a head coach today in either high school or college football, and you wanted to play for me, because those coaches want to play for the coach. I mean, yeah,
those kids want to play for the coach.
Yeah, those kids want to play for the coach.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, very strict rules. As soon as training camp starts, everybody's 100% off social media. You don't get back on social media until the last game is played. You get access to it like little kids, because it is evident. It is evident that if you have an 80 kid pool, that you may have 75 guys that may do the right thing, but the 5 guys that don't are gonna
poison the well.
They'll poison the well.
Yeah.
So just 100%. Like, and if they don't like it, get out. Get out. Don't play for me.
You might not have a team.
But that's fine. That's fine. But you know what? The guys that decide that they want to come, those are going to be some badasses.
Well, I remember Jimmy, and Jimmy told me straight to my face that he doesn't understand social media. He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand it. He goes, why the hell are you so worried about the other guys that are other than the 50-something that are on your team right now, worrying about what the hell somebody else thinks that doesn't know what's going on inside of our closed doors? Like, you got to worry about what these 50 guys or 50 men are worried about, not what, Tommy does on his couch when he watches you play once a week and he has 5 plays under his belt that he's probably ran in high school that he can identify with and wants to criticize your productivity. How are you going to worry about what that sap says as opposed to what you've been doing for 7 hours a day, every day of the week with these 50-something men grinding, bleeding, sweating for? How are you going to worry about that? And social media is a mother scruncher. I can't really, I'm not going to be the old man, get off my lawn again about it, but I like to put stuff on social media, but I don't like to put it on there to get likes and hearts and confirmation. I don't need confirmation from somebody.
But that's what it's become. Even recruiting is about likes now. Offers have become likes. When you guys were coming out of high school, an offer was an offer.
Yeah.
And that's changed dramatically in 20 years. Now offers become likes on Twitter. They're not even real.
I noticed that. I can't stand that. And the kids are like, hey, I'd like to thank coach this and like to thank coach that for offering me. And then it's like him with a picture of him with his jersey on. Like, I just got, hey, I'm letting everybody else know that I just got offered. Brother, I don't care what you just got offered. Until you actually get that helmet and jersey on and provide for this university or this institution, I don't care.
It's hard to measure that because we didn't grow up around social media, and God knows where we would all be.
In jail.
If these things that
I got a good idea in jail.
Yeah, these camera phones existed and social media existed. So for something that is proven time and time again to be so difficult to manage, well, there's one way to manage it. Don't allow it. Don't allow it. You
sound very Denzel Washington.
Yeah, it sounds very communist, very, you may not like it. Socialista, whatever you want to call it. But let me tell you, I think that the focus of a football team, specifically during the football season, should be on what makes us better.
Well, you're given the mentality of basically camp life. You 100%. Want that isolation, get your body and get your mind away from
100%.
Everybody else, that the outside world ultimately. You're looking for a season of camp life is basically what we're thinking about. What we got going on here? What we passing love notes now? What we got going on?
Gonna close out the segment.
Oh, you want to close it? Yeah, it's about that time, right? It is that time right now. I think, yeah, we're about done with this.
Well, hey guys, you got to tune in every morning from 8 to 10 a.m. to 4 guys born and raised in South Florida and raise hell every morning to start your day. Catch the morning juice with Lemon City Live every day on OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to Romberg and Korge. Take Onside Radio your home for sports talk everywhere with the MyTuner Radio app. Find the app at OnsideRadio.com.
Big news, Miami fans! Body Armor is proud to be the new official sports drink of Major League Soccer and Inter Miami CF. It doesn't matter if you're a player or a fan, Body Armor sports drink will hydrate you with potassium-packed electrolytes, antioxidants, and no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or dyes. Whether you're at home or in the starting lineup, Body Armor sports drink will hydrate you from kickoff to the final whistle. Body Armor, now the official sports drink of Inter Miami CF, available at your local Publix.
Let's raise a cup to the first among us who put themselves last. To the risk takers, the mask makers, the heroes on the front line and online. To the ones keeping shelves full and keeping us hopeful. To those who don't stop and those making all the stops. To the ones who pick up, suit up, and never let us down. From all of us at Dunkin' to all the heroes keeping everyone running, we thank you.
Hey, it's Big O. Catch the Onside Zone daily from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. No better place to get the insight you want on the teams you love, from the Dolphins to Inter Miami and everything in between. Hey, it's Orlando Alzagari. Listen, podcast, stay connected to the show that bleeds South Florida sports every day from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. only at OnsideRadio.com.
I'm Tiffany. I have some tips for you on how to quit smoking like I did. First, I did some reading about it. I found a lot of great advice on how to quit smoking and picked out the ways I thought would work best for me. I started by setting a quit date. Then I threw out my ashtrays, lighters, and matches. I did other things too, like exercising more, and it worked. But I'd still get cravings, especially on long car rides. To help me with that, I put a picture of my mother in my car. She died of lung cancer from smoking cigarettes when I was only 16. Now I have a 16-year-old daughter. That picture of my mother reminds me that I don't want to miss all the things my daughter is going to do in her life, including turning 17.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
For over 20 years, Mr. Glass has been committed to the safety and satisfaction of our clients. Our products are the culmination of innovative engineering, aesthetic appeal, and the highest levels of quality. Through our legacy, Mr. Glass strives to impart the true meaning of quality, service, and sustainability to new generations. Reputation, experience, and trust is why clients choose Mr. Glass. Live the future now. Locate a dealer near you today.
Hello, Inter Miami CF fans! Download the Drink AR app and play inside a first-of-its-kind virtual soccer stadium, hosted by Bodega Trevento and Inter Miami CF, and celebrate your passion for soccer from the comfort of your own home. Find the download links on our Instagram account at Treventus and get our wines delivered straight to your home with a discount for all Inter Miami CF fans. Discover Trevento, a shared passion.
We live in challenging times, and we understand you have questions about how you're going to take care of your family and yourself. Well, you can trust the Publix is doing everything possible to help. Our stores continue to be open. We're busy restocking as quickly as we can. But please remember to think of others as you shop for the week ahead. This will give your friends and neighbors the opportunity to get what they need as well. Our supply chains are strong, deliveries are being made throughout the day, and our associates are here every step of the way. It's not always going to be perfect, but together we'll make it through this. So let's be safe. Let's be calm. Let's be kind. Visit Publix.com for all the latest information.
Welcome back to Romberg and Korge. To reach out to the fellas, dial 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Here's Romberg and Korge.
Welcome back, everybody. We're sitting here in the lovely newspapers here in South Miami. We're joined by my former teammate and his buddy Joaquin Gonzalez, and one of the blasts from the past here at Christopher Columbus, former 18-year head coach over there, Coach Merritt, now currently with Bryant University up there in Rhode Island. Just kind of reminiscing a little bit about the old school days back at Columbus. You know, Joaquin's lame 4 years or 3 years that he did participate there, you know, with the mediocre 500 ball club, and then how Coach Merritt and his crew, along with Dunn, turned everything around over there at Christopher Columbus. So shout out to Chris. I actually won the media award there. The annual, they have like an annual banquet.
Bro, they have a
really
great
badass.
media program.
Yeah, their media program is top notch.
Well, nowadays I would have had a 7th place trophy back then,
which is still good.
Yeah, which is nice.
It seems to be fitting with nowadays. You know, everybody's getting a trophy nowadays, so it's one of those kind of things. But yeah, we talked a little bit about what's going on up in Rhode Island, how the university is basically starting up their camp, which is really weird to me, and I know it's going to be weird for them because let's face it, football is very militant and very regimented. So all of a sudden now when you're trying to crank up a season and some time of year that you're not really used to, you're probably at that point in time getting ready to watch the Super Bowl, maybe get ready to get back into the swing of things.
Signing day. For us, it's signing
day.
Yeah,
basically. So how awkward was that with the whole signing day situation and getting ready to start camp? That had to be a nightmare.
I feel bad for the 21s, the kids who came out because they didn't come to camp. We have not been able to. I signed 13 kids and was not able to physically see a single kid that we signed.
That's unbelievable.
So we're having them videotape themselves being hided and weighted and all this crazy stuff. And it was awkward. First time in 44 years I didn't coach or play. It was a weird deal this fall.
I can only imagine. What was it? I know he got mama sitting next to him over here. How ugly was that at home? Was that like, please get the hell out of my face? I'm tired of seeing you every day. Or no, cierra la boca. No más. No habla mal. Don't want to talk bad. Okay. Yeah, it works better that way. Yeah, very well. So since we're on to the Spanish trip right now, let's go ahead and figure out here in South Florida, and particularly, the Miami, south of Dade County lines. You're not going to be able to go more than 3 blocks, wherever neighborhood you live in. You could be in Agua Dulce, you could be in Hialeah, dog. You can be in Sweetwater. You could be in West Kendall. You could be in Pinecre. You can be in Coral Gables, West Kendall Baptist. I don't care where you are, but you cannot walk more than 3 or 4 houses and not smell like a hachina, a pernil, something going on, and drunk Cubans rolling around all over the place because they're golf carting from house to house. Because let's face it, Nochebuena, it's one of those days, which is Christmas Eve for all you people out there that don't speak Spanish. Shame on you. Nochebuena, the good night. St. Lazaro, I know he has nothing to do with Nochebuena, but I like to throw St. Lazaro in there.
His birthday was on the 17th.
I know. Congrats. Feliz cumpleaños, St. Lazaro. And he's got, I think actually St. Lazaro, comes out of his casita in the front of a lot of the different houses in Hialeah. Yeah. And he's out, ready. He's got his little vasito también. He's, drinking, too. He's ready to go.
He's ready to rock and roll.
So Nochebuena is basically an excuse for a lot of the Cuban men to get super borracho, get really tanked up, play a lot of dominoes, smoke a lot of cigars, drink some rum, pretend like they know what they're doing when it comes to cooking a pork, because let's face it, how many Cubans does it take to cook a pig? It's usually about 13 or 14, to be honest with you. But this guy's an expert, man. The guy sitting next to me, Joaquin Gonzalez, my former teammate. I love the guy to death. His family's incredible. And your brother usually puts on a big spread for the funeral.
So we start off on the 23rd with the funeral.
So people, you got to explain this. And this blew my mind. I didn't even realize that this even happened. So people thinks that he's a chauffeur and he needs to drive this freaking pig all the way around town to bless it. So you got to explain this to the layman out there.
Yeah, so it's whatever. Every family has a different tradition. So my dad usually picks up the pig on the 23rd in the morning and kind of drives it around. Then he goes to the St. Lazarus Church in Hialeah. I kid you not, bro. I cannot make this shit up. So he drives it around, gets it blessed, make sure that the pig gets a nice good sweat going. Once he's covered 10 to 12 miles, then gets it back home, and we have the pig's funeral. The pig funeral, in very typical male chauvinistic fashion, it's usually a guy-only event, and this is held on the 23rd. That's where we hang the pig upside down, we wash it with a hose, and we kind of let it drain all its blood or defrost if you bought it frozen, and then there's dominoes. Everybody brings a bottle, and man, usually you got to make sure that you've seasoned it and put it away before everybody gets too drunk, because that's happened to us as well. It's like the 23rd and it's already midnight. Everybody's gone and it's just like you and 2 other cats. And you're like, oh shit, we got to put this in tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. And it's still hanging. It's half frozen. What happened?
I remember it was frozen by the boat last year. I remember that. I was like, Jesus.
So it starts off with the 23rd and the whole procession, as we like to call it, la procesión. Got to take it to San Lázaro, get it blessed over there, got to, do its rounds. But then the 24th, as Brett says, I mean, it's like 13, 14 Cubans. And what happens is that you put the pig in, and every new Cuban that shows up at the house, let me see it.
Yeah.
So you got to raise it.
No, mira, a ver.
So you lose about 100 degrees, and then you got to close it, and you revamp.
Takes another hour and 40 minutes to cook because everybody wants to see it.
Because everybody wants.
Mira, niño, ven aquí, mira la porquito.
Yeah. So I took the reins over about 4 or 5 years ago, and I cook very scientific. I got prongs,
multiple thermometers.
Yeah, multiple thermometers everywhere. Everybody makes fun of me, but for the last 4 years, everybody's like, golly,
he's the pig Nazi.
It's this is so good.
I'm sorry to bring that up. Bad form.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah. 8 crazy nights. I'm sorry to bring that up.
Damn
anti-Semite Romberg.
Well, back to the pig anyways.
Yeah. Smooth transition.
It's awesome. It's come out awesome. And this year it's a little different, with COVID going on. you're really not getting a lot of people. So in order to spend, Thanksgiving with my parents, same as Christmas, we all decided to take a COVID test and, make sure everybody came back negative. So it's only going to be 12 of us. It's usually like 30, 40 people in this house.
Yeah.
So we do like a big pig. So this year I kind of switch it up. So
this is your first year in your new house too.
Correct.
So I think, Tony had his turn. Joaquin's brother had his turn, doing the family thing. Now it's Joaquin's turn to unveil the castle that Joaquin just built, which is incredible.
It's not much. We call it a second home, but
no, I know.
Whatever.
It's just, it is, we could sleep and have a shower at night. It's a roof over our head. But yeah, it's incredible. And he did like the outside terraza is beautiful. He's got like all the old school Cuban tile in the terraza that he ended up finding somewhere. So obviously,
I just pay for the stuff. My wife picked it off.
That's it. He's got a 25-inch TV on the wall, so everybody can see. Everybody can see.
We
it.
struggle through it.
Yeah,
at times,
you figured out how to pay the bill, but yeah, it's going to be an incredible event. You did such a good job with the turkey during Thanksgiving that now you're doing a turkey during Christmas.
So I started cooking yesterday.
Which is Americano thing,
I
by the
did
way.
2 different brines. So I have right now in my fridge, I have the turkey sitting in a brine for until tomorrow. So for
I saw
48
it look
hours
good too. It looked good, by the way.
And then I have another distinct brine for the pig leg. And then that pig leg we're going to roast. And then we're going to deep fry the turkey. So I'm looking forward to it. I got 10 pounds of stone crabs for appetizers, bro. I'm going to do it up. I got some pork belly.
Bro, you can't hide money. I'm telling you right now. You cannot hide money,
hey,
bro.
You never know if this is my last fucking Christmas.
That's a good point. It's COVID. You never know.
You gotta do it.
At this time, you better do it, bro.
I told my wife, I'm like, we better start the party like at noon because there's a lot of food to be had.
Yeah, man, I know we mentioned like 7 people that already died this year. You know what I mean? Never know.
I know. I don't know, man.
Know.
So I got some pork belly going as well. So I'm all about managing. I got the oven going. I got the deep fryer going. I had the barbecue empty, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna, slow cook in the smoker there. I'm gonna throw some pork belly and make some chicharrones.
Yeah, you've done a phenomenal job cooking, and I know he's embraced it. Joe Fanagrassi, another guy that really got into the barbecue scene, is a firefighter here in Miami, and then Sherko, the guy that we shaved for $50, he got into it too. He was Joe's like sous chef, right? Like he was when they would go on the road for the cooking competitions. Sherko was like his assistant, but then Sherko got all enveloped in cooking and stuff. So then he started following suit, and I've always loved to cook. I've always been like a big cook, and I've never taken it as professional as these guys have. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm doing the Christmas here, and then the next day going to the Keys immediately. I'm going back down to the Keys.
But tell them about your Christmas experience. I find it so comical how you have to cater.
You want me to bitch?
Yeah.
Do I have a bitching? I got 30 seconds, right? Yeah. Okay.
30 seconds. 30 seconds. Tell them how it goes.
Yeah. Well, first of all, he sends me a Happy Mother's Day card every year. We'll preface with that, and it's like, and then everybody in the group chat, obviously they know what's up. Like I said last night, my wife's allergic to the kitchen. So, tiene alergia para cocina, depende. So the cooking gene must have skipped, a generation or two. So I'm the guy that cooks. I cook everything. Like I'm talking full smorgasbord every morning with the breakfast. Each kid wants this, ham con huevito, con quesito. The other one wants waffles. This one wants chocolate chip pancakes. And I'm just, at their beck and call because, I'm the good guy. And then, lunch is a different story because La Suegra shows up and helps out with the kids. So, I got to find out what she wants to eat too. So now it's like almuerzo time. So it's like, what do they want for lunch? And what does she want for lunch? And then, the wife comes down because she's working at home now. She comes down and just grabs her food, eats it, and walks back upstairs and throws the plate in the sink. It makes me, so I'm not only cooking and prepping and cleaning, I'm also doing the dishes, the laundry. Usually laundry's done at around 2:00 too. So I'm usually doing a few loads of the laundry. But the best part is when I do the Noche Buena, I do the same thing. The pig, I do the turkeys, I do the hams, the whole, like I go full 9. And I'm sweating my ass off by 2:00 because I'm nonstop. And my wife's been getting ready since about 8:30 in the morning at this point in time. And then all of a sudden, when everybody shows up, Tia, Tio, the total familia, everybody just walks around and looks at the house and, okay, Lino, mira the girls, they look so good because I got 3 daughters. So, I'm sitting there sweating my balls off, and then my wife comes down and she goes, "Oh, you're not going to get ready? Like, you're not gonna get changed?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me, man? I've been working for 3 days prepping and cooking food, like lasagnas, my spaghetti sauces."
The guests walk in and Emily's like, we've been working all day.
That's another thing. So they were like, "I meet Emily, you look so good." And she's like, "I know, we've been working all day trying to prep this food." I'm just like, "Que eso? And that's my Christmas so far this year, ladies and gentlemen, much like every holiday. So when we come back, we'll get into something else, I imagine, here at the Community News here in South Florida on Onside Radio. See you in a second.
You're listening to Romberg and Korge. Take Onside Radio your home for sports talk everywhere with the MyTuner Radio app. Find the app at OnsideRadio.com.
We live in challenging times, and we understand you have questions about how you're going to take care of your family and yourself. Well, you can trust the Publix is doing everything possible to help. Our stores continue to be open. We're busy restocking as quickly as we can. But please remember to think of others as you shop for the week ahead. This will give your friends and neighbors the opportunity to get what they need as well. Our supply chains are strong. Deliveries are being made throughout the day, and our associates are here every step of the way. It's not always going to be perfect, but together we'll make it through this. So let's be safe. Let's be calm. Let's be kind. Visit Publix.com for all the latest information.
For over 20 years, Mr. Glass has been committed to the safety and satisfaction of our clients. Our products are the culmination of innovative engineering, aesthetic appeal, and the highest levels of quality. Through our legacy, Mr. Glass strives to impart the true meaning of quality, service, and sustainability to new generations. Reputation, experience, and trust is why clients choose Mr. Glass. Live the future now. Locate a dealer near you today.
Inter Miami CF, your official furniture and mattress store, is here. City Furniture is your #1 home source for the trends you want at the prices you'll love, including exclusive City Furniture collections, the widest selection of styles, affordable home accents, mattresses starting at just $99 and more. Create the home of your dreams fast with next-day delivery, plus get 60 months special financing with no down payment. Because City Furniture is here to make it easy so everyone can live life like this, visit cityfurniture.com. Hello, Inter Miami CF fans! Download the Drink AR app and play inside a first-of-its-kind virtual soccer stadium, hosted by Bodega Trevento and Inter Miami CF, and celebrate your passion for soccer from the comfort of your own home. Find the download links on our Instagram account at Treventus and get our wines delivered straight to your home with a discount for all Inter Miami CF fans. Discover Trevento, a shared passion.
Let's raise a cup to the first among us who put themselves last. To the risk takers, the mask makers, the heroes on the front line and online. To the ones keeping shelves full and keeping us hopeful. To those who don't stop and those making all the stops. To the ones who pick up, suit up, and never let us down. From all of us at Dunkin' to all the heroes keeping everyone running, we thank you.
Riddle me this, with all this sizzling meat and crunchy veggies nestled between toasty flatbread, who should get credit for Papa John's new papadilla? The person who invented pizza or the person who invented folding? Well, whoever it is, a tip of the tongue hat to you, sir or madam. Get a new papadilla, 4 flavors, just $6 each. Better ingredients, better pizza, better than a sandwich, Papa John's.
My daughter is Marina. Marina has a rare form of children's eye cancer, retinoblastoma. Her doctor sent us to a specialist, and then the specialist sent us to St. Jude. Within the first couple weeks of us getting here, I was just so scared. I think the reality just hit me, and it kind of hit me all at once. I had started to cry, and her doctor came in, Dr. Brennan came in, and just didn't even say anything, sat down beside me, and hugged me. And held me while I was literally sobbing. And she just said, it's gonna be okay. We don't have to worry anymore. The treatment worked and we've saved her eye. This place has been such a blessing for us. There's no way we could have paid for treatment back home if we had to. We can come here and we can just solely focus on taking care of her and helping her heal.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Hey, it's Big O. Catch the Onside Zone daily from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. No better place to get the insight you want on the teams you love, from the Dolphins to Inter Miami and everything in between. Hey, it's Orlando Alzagari. Listen, podcast, stay connected to the show that bleeds South Florida sports every day from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. only at OnsideRadio.com.
Welcome back to Romberg and Korge. To reach out to the guys, send a text to 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. This is Romberg and Korge on Onside Radio.
Welcome back to Romberg and Korge here. I need to ask you guys a question. Where do you hear what you're hearing right now on radio anywhere in South Florida? I mean, we have Joaquin here. We have his high school, not his high school coach.
High school coach
I
at
mean,
Columbus in the community here. Hell yeah, man.
For gosh sakes.
Yeah, we I think we do a pretty good freaking show, to be honest with you. I don't think there is anything on in the South Florida marketplace.
I mean, I just love that whole banter. I mean, I was sitting here watching it.
You were entertained.
I was entertained by it. I mean, the stories and so forth. And Chris Merritt, Bryant, head coach, Bryant University, thanks for being with us. So you happy to be down here in South Florida? A little vacation?
Yeah, I'm going to need this 2 weeks, because when we go back, I've never been in a fall camp in the middle of January. Our first game's in February.
And the kids got class.
It's going to be close. I mean, a lot of football, though. 10 months, 12 months. It's going to be close to 20 games. A lot of work.
Do people realize this? Like, for instance, you would tell somebody, yeah, I have a cot in my office because, there's just some nights that it's just not worth it for me to drive home, and I'd rather just stay there because we got a 6 a.m. meeting at the round table. And then people will be like, what? You sleep at the office sometime? People don't get it, man. They think it's a Saturday event. They think that you guys are, high school level where, you're probably doing nothing all day but meeting. And then all of a sudden you got a 2-hour practice, and then that's it. And then you'll go maybe cut up film for a little bit. They don't realize that it's an annual recruiting, road tripping, car renting, nonstop, now psychiatric evaluations,
all encompassing,
all day babysitting. It's an incredible thing to be a coach and having, young men's futures in your hands.
Oh, listen, I slept in my office for my first month on the job at Columbus. I mean, I literally slept in my office. So you're right. People will tell you or don't realize the amount of work that goes into it. When I got the job at Bryant, I asked a lot of college coaches, because I'd never been a college head coach before, and I had to ask for a lot of advice. And it was, I believe it was Greg Schiano who told me, listen, the pile on your desk will never get smaller.
All right.
You trust me, I will always find work to do,
mm-hmm.
whether it's recruiting, whether it's budgeting. I didn't realize I had to be a math whiz and accounting. All these things.
You wear that hat too now as well, because I know Butch had the culture shock when he had to show up at FIU and realize that, wait a minute, this budget isn't exactly like it was at North Carolina. Yeah, it's a different animal.
And I got a quarter of that.
Yeah, I could only imagine. A lot of Costco trips is probably what I'm guessing. That's incredible, man. And then on top of that, so for instance, you always have, obviously the coach gets a lot of hype, gets a lot of attention. But I've always found this: the head coach is only as good as the support staff, which is usually going to be his significant other, his wife, or his girlfriend, or his fiance, and his kids. Because the amount of time that a coach dedicates to other people's lives, you know what I mean? It's hard enough raising your own family and being a dad and being a husband, a loving husband and a good dad, and being at home and being visible. But when you're doing that with 100 other kids all day long, and then you got to go back to your wife and still have the smile on your face and the energy and to be happy and, walk in the door and hug and kiss your kids and be thankful, that's a whole other animal. So
doesn't sound too glamorous to me.
It really, it's very similar to me when you're looking at it as teachers who do what they do. They wear a whole new hat now, 2020. They wear a whole new hat. Nurses wear a whole new hat, 2020. And I feel like coaches' wives, and I've said this from day one, and obviously the military and their families as well. That's like the first one. But coaches' wives, much like I always do, metaphors, and I talk a lot about how football resembles a lot of militant life. I think that coaches' wives are up there on the pedestal as well, because let's face it, the amount of time that their spouse spends away from the house is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And it's hard enough to keep a marriage together nowadays without having a coach as a spouse. So kudos to Mama over there. It's an incredible thing to see the support structure that is under the roofs of coaches, especially when it comes to the game of football. So, yeah, I imagine you got a pretty good one over there. You went Latin too, though.
I went Latin.
You're white, driven snow like me, and you went Latin too. That's spice, bro. It's the spice.
I've put my life in danger many times.
Oh, yeah.
But she's our top recruiter, Brian, to be honest with
That's
you.
awesome.
You know, when we get her involved in recruiting, she's also the water girl during camp. You know,
that's awesome.
She finds a way to get involved. And she's basically the second mom.
Yep. And the nucleus for a lot of the other coaches' wives and girlfriends, I imagine, too. She must be wearing a lot of hats as well.
And probably your number one asset there at Bryant University, I'm sure. But Chris Merritt, thanks so much for joining us here on Romberg and Korge. Really appreciate you coming in. And
I'd love to follow up too, man, to find out what the whole, maybe February to find out what you guys get cracking in the season. I'd love to find a way to do a Zoom call or something like that to see how you guys are doing up there and how the camp worked out injury-wise as well. That's another thing I'm kind of concerned about. So, and I know you are as well. So I'd like to figure out how that goes. I might have to go to you as my source for that.
Anytime.
Cool. Awesome.
Great to have you, Chris Merritt, coach Bryant University and former coach Christopher Columbus High School right here in Miami. Get the brutal honesty every day from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. with the Big O and the Onside Zone on your home for sports talk in South Florida, OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to the home of Inter Miami CF.
His strike is a decent one. It's fired into the top right corner. Gonzalez opens his account for Inter Miami.
OnsideRadio.com, where the passion for La Rosa Negra runs deep.
Big news, Miami fans. Body Armor is proud to be the new official sports drink of Major League Soccer and Inter Miami CF. It doesn't matter if you're a player or a fan, Body Armor sports drink will hydrate you with potassium-packed electrolytes, antioxidants, and no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or dyes. Whether you're at home or in the starting lineup, Body Armor sports drink will hydrate you from kickoff to the final whistle. Body Armor, now the official sports drink of Inter Miami CF, available at your local Publix.
Hello, Inter Miami CF fans! Download the Drink AR app and play inside a first-of-its-kind virtual soccer stadium, hosted by Bodega Trevento and Inter Miami CF, and celebrate your passion for soccer from the comfort of your own home. Find the download links on our Instagram account at Treventus and get our wines delivered straight to your home with a discount for all Inter Miami CF fans. Discover Trevento, a shared passion.
Keeping you informed in the world of sports. With an OnsideRadio.com sports update.
Atlanta United is welcoming back Mikey Ambrose for signing him from Inter Miami. Ambrose played just 6 matches for Miami this past season. As the Dolphins improved to 9-5 on the season, Miami furthered their spread against the Raiders as well. They opened up as 1.5-point favorites and have now grown to -3 and could possibly go higher. With bowl games around the corner, Canes fans have been waiting for more opt-outs, but luckily they do seem to be over. According to coaches and murmurs from within Miami, Quincy Roach is expected to be the last opt-out for the Hurricanes. The Marlins are looking into some affordable options that could improve their roster this season. Great rumored options include left-handed pitcher Jake McGee, outfielder Yasiel Puig, and Jose Quintana. The Washington football team is aware of social media posts with Dwayne Haskins at a strip club, allegedly after Sunday's game. It's believed that head coach Ron Rivera is trying to keep the focus on their upcoming game against Carolina. ESPN Monday Night Football analyst Louis Riddick will interview tomorrow for the Jacksonville Jaguars general manager job. Riddick has already interviewed for the GM openings in Detroit and Houston. With your Onside Radio Sports Update, I'm Benjamin Kier, and you're listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida, OnsideRadio.com.
Riddle me this. With all this sizzling meat and crunchy veggies nestled between toasty flatbread, who should get credit for Papa John's new papadilla? The person who invented pizza or the person who invented folding? Well, whoever it is, a tip of the tongue hat to you, sir or madam. Get a new papadilla, 4 flavors, just $6 each. Better ingredients, better pizza, better than a sandwich. Papa John's.
Hey, it's Big O. Catch the Onside Zone daily from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. No better place to get the insight you want on the teams you love, from the Dolphins to Inter Miami and everything in between. Hey, it's Orlando Alzagari. Listen, podcast, stay connected to the show that bleeds South Florida sports every day from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. only at OnsideRadio.com.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. First responders are people who stand for a greater purpose. They will be there for you when nobody else is, to help you, your family, your community. This is their selfless promise. This is their sworn duty to protect, to serve, to help. They put themselves in harm's way for us. They come to the rescue at times when we need them most. First responders are making enormous personal sacrifices to keep showing up for us and fighting the good fight. Nearly 70% of all firefighters are volunteers. That means when they get injured or quarantined, they may not have a way to pay their rent or keep their family safe and fed. No matter who you are or where you live, when you call 911 and ask for help, first responders show up. Now, let's show up for the people who show up for us every day and every night.
Go to firstrcf.org and make a difference today.
It's time for Romberg and Korge. Start your evenings with two guys ready to break down all the latest sports headlines in South Florida. Reach out to the boys, dial 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. To connect by text, it's 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. Now let's go to the show ready to rock your evening. This is Romberg and Korge on Onside Radio.
Welcome back to Romberg and Korge. Thanks for joining us on a Tuesday evening on the precipice of the big day. I love that Noche Buena conversation. Oh my God, that was.
I love your accent. That's what I love.
Noche Buena.
Oh, now it's Italian. I like it. No, whatever.
Whatever that was.
No te bena. I like it.
But I love the conversation. And I love the camaraderie that's evident. The moment Joaquin walked in here, there was a glow about my partner on him. The moment he walked in with his young son, who's mighty tall, might I add.
He's a tall kid. He's no joke. When Joaquin looked at Coach Merritt and said, he's going to be the next Columbus quarterback, he will. Like he literally is. He's doing lessons 5-6 days a week.
He's going to be a quarterback.
Yeah. Joaquin has him throwing. I think Joaquin said every day he's got to get out there and throw. I think Mondays 50 throws, Tuesdays 60 throws, and he has to hit like certain spots. And Joaquin built a beautiful house where he's got the basketball court, the volleyball court, because his daughter's a big time volleyball player.
No kidding.
Competition, tall, bigger girl, badass. Very into volleyball as well. So Joaquin is. How can I say this about Joaquin? Much like myself, athletically, we're not super gifted athletically. Obviously, more than the average bear, but not compared to some of the other people that we've played with. The athletic gift,
like a Bryant McKinney as an example.
Yeah, just like incredible, just an incredible situation. Like Joaquin was dealt with the Cuban gene, which is usually no triceps, no biceps.
I didn't know that.
Very little pichuguitas, like can barely bench. Okay. You might have the rarity. You might have a couple Cubbins out there that can probably bench the world, but Joaquin's muscle structure and muscle tone is typical Cubanazo. It's like, I eat lechon and vaca frita and like all kinds of other Cuban dishes. And I got my mom at home that cooks for me all the time. That's the way Joaquin grew up. But I don't know anybody that works harder. Like, that's the thing with him, man. I don't know what it is, what it was. His brother's very similar. His brother is way more fixated on detail than Joaquin is. But Joaquin is the guy that will never leave until he gets it right. And that's, I think that the reason why he became so successful and continues to be so successful is because of that mindset of, you're not going to tell me I can't. Like there's nothing that, and we've even talked about it. It's like, if I don't know how to do an open heart surgery, I'm going to go on YouTube and I'm going to figure it out. Like, that's the way he is. That's the way I am. I'll very rarely hire somebody to come into my home.
Is that a common, you think, thread amongst the players that played with you during those championship seasons at the University of Miami?
So. I really do. It's they don't want anybody else to do it for them. They don't want to have to rely on anybody else. Just like I don't want to have to rely on somebody doing something for me. And they always say, it's not done right. You got to do it yourself, kind of
right.
thing. But I really do feel like I will be thoroughly heartbroken for days if I hired somebody to come to my home and I watch them every time somebody comes over, which is rare, to do work at my house, whether it's to service a refrigerator or whatever it is. I'll literally sit there and watch them. And if I see something that I know I could have done, I'll be very upset with myself to the point where I actually serviced my own Sub-Zero this year.
Really?
Oh, lights, seals, gaskets, motors, everything. Service my own Sub-Zero. And I always put the hat on and, put the shirt on.
And that's a common denominator with guys with that championship pedigree, let's call it, that you played with.
I think so. I think the accountability thing, it's like, how do you want to rely on somebody else to do something that you could possibly do? Like, if that's your job, you should be able to do that kind of thing. Obviously I'm not a professional when it comes to like the hardcore stuff. I'll hire somebody to do that. I'm obviously not an engineer, but you better believe that I'll be sitting there on graph paper. I'm not an architect either, but you better believe I'll be sitting there with legitimate graph paper to scale. And I will measure everything to scale, and I will design every home that we've built and every home that we've remodeled. I've designed with my wife to scale, to the point where I just hand those plans to the workers. You know what I mean? That's how finicky I am about certain things. So,
right.
And Joaquin is very, very similar with that regimen of his. He doesn't mess around. Like, he really does. Like, if his son's out there throwing 48 instead of 50, Joaquin will go make him back out there. And, regardless if he showered or not, and he goes, did you do 50 or 48? And if he lies to him, Joaquin will check the security camera and he'll say, go back out there and throw your other two throws.
And I'm not trying to cast dirt on the players today at you.
Well, the corner cutters.
But you think that that's part of the issue? Is it, what do you think makes.
Well, people nowadays they just want to do enough, right? They don't want to go over or, go above and beyond.
Meet the
just why the hell would I want to do better or more? No, just let me go ahead and, hit the barometer. Let me go ahead and hit the barometer. Heaven forbid I do anything out of the box or anything better. You know what I mean? I feel like it really is a cancer. Like, I think it really, the mediocrity bug, I feel that has fallen upon society in general, just because I don't want to do it. Much like a workout, like a person. And if you're overweight, if you have issues, you're tired, you're lazy, you're going to be more lazy and more tired if you don't exercise. So heaven forbid you just get off the couch and go for a walk for 30 minutes instead. And then you'll feel like, wait a minute, wow, I feel good. And all of a sudden now I got energy and I can't go to sleep because I just have that walker or runner's bug. So now, heaven forbid, you got a little bit more energy about your stuff, a little pep in your step.
Yeah, maybe I make your wife happy.
You might get a little bit more libido going on. You know what I mean? Exactly. It's like you might last more than 7 seconds.
Well, we have a caller on. Do we have a caller on the line?
Did you get my wife to call?
We know nothing like
I'm
that.
gonna start to sweat here a little bit.
But we have a caller on the line. I believe it's not happy with how the UM players are. How serious they're taking college football right now, and so wanted to talk to him. Do we have him on the line?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh,
who we got here?
Who do we have?
Yeah, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger, Romberg. I want to talk to you. I'm going to tell you now, you look like a girly man. I'm watching you now. When you were at the University of Miami, I watched your videos. All I can tell you is you had no promptitude. You had no dexterity. I don't know how Joaquin played a better game than you played. I don't even know. You're a girly man. Joaquin looks like he's from Miami. You look like you just stepped off a plane from Vancouver. I mean, you don't even look like you belong in Miami. I mean, what is your problem? What is with the University of Miami and North Carolina? Andy Korge, Merry Christmas to you, but I don't need to talk to you. I need to talk to Romberg. I need to get his promptitude going. Get over to the UM. I'm tired of losing to North Carolina and the Tar Heels. Who do they think they are? We are the University of Miami. We are not the Tar Heels from some podunk place in North Carolina.
Well, you seem, Arnold, very, very upset about the way the UM has played this, I guess, the last game of the year. But they are playing in a bowl game. It's the Cheez-It Bowl.
We're going to the Cheez-It Bowl, for God's sakes. I mean, when did the University of Miami play at the Cheez-It Bowl? That sounds like some place where Columbus High School goes and plays and works out after their main practice. They go up to the Cheez-It Bowl. I mean, Romberg, can't you speak to these guys? Because I think sometimes they think they're going to put on the UM uniform and they're going to become the Supermen from 80s and 90s with you guys, and that's not going to happen again. We need to get a new course of action going. Romberg, get off your duff. I'm coming to Miami for the big beach bash, and I'm going to get your pompitude going. I'm going to get you back and get you going in the right direction. But can't you talk to these guys and tell them, North Carolina, are you kidding me? I mean,
Arnold, did I hear that you are coming back you're coming to South Florida soon? When are you going to come for a visit? Maybe visit us in the studio?
I'm going to be having a Joaquin's Christmas party. We're going to have a good time. And then Romberg, what do you got to do? You got to bring up a Nazi thing right after Hanukkah. I mean, for God's sakes, Romberg, what's your problem? I mean, I know you're from Canada, which, by the way, I spoke to your old high school coach, and he told me some days you'd show up for football practice in your hockey uniform. You didn't know the difference between hockey and football. I mean, what's going on with you, Romberg?
Is that true?
I mean, what's going on here, Romberg? I mean, for God's sakes, what part of Canada do you think you're playing in? You're in Miami. Get a suntan. Look at Korge. He's a Gator. Oh, my God, a Gator. I can't even believe this. But my good friend, my very good friend for Sylvester Stallone, who went to Miami, told me that the Miami Hurricanes are a great team, but you keep losing to North Carolina. What's up there, Romberg? Speak up here, boy. Speak up.
I swear to God, my cheeks are sore right now.
Arnold, you seem very...
He's perplexed right now. He's upset.
He's very unhappy about that North Carolina game. He can't seem to get off it.
He's nothing. He's craziness. He's a person with a tumor for a head.
Well, Arnold, I don't know what to say except hopefully you catch a South Florida staple every afternoon as Alex Dono hosts the Man of the Match from 2 to 5 p.m. Dono covers everything from football to MMA. Tune in to one of the most complete sports shows in the country with Man of the Match with Alex Dono, 2 to 5 p.m. exclusively here on OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to Romberg and Korge. Take Onside Radio your home for sports talk everywhere with the MyTuner Radio app. Find the app at OnsideRadio.com.
Hello, Inter Miami CF fans. Download the Drink AR app and play inside a first-of-its-kind virtual soccer stadium, hosted by Bodega Trevento and Inter Miami CF, and celebrate your passion for soccer from the comfort of your own home. Find the download links on our Instagram account at Treventus and get our wines delivered straight to your home with a discount for all Inter Miami CF fans. Discover Trevento, a shared passion.
Hey, it's Big O. Catch the Onside Zone daily from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. No better place to get the insight you want on the teams you love, from the Dolphins to Inter Miami and everything in between. Hey, it's Orlando Alzagari. Listen, podcast, stay connected to the show that bleeds South Florida sports every day from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. only at OnsideRadio.com.
You can connect with us at OnsideRadio.com by sending us a text at 844-416-8123. Save it on your cell phone, 844-416-8123. No better place to send your comments, ask questions, win prizes. OnsideRadio.com, the only choice for the South Florida sports fan.
I'm Tiffany. I have some tips for you on how to quit smoking like I did. First, I did some reading about it. I found a lot of great advice on how to quit smoking and picked out the ways I thought would work best for me. I started by setting a quit date. Then I threw out my ashtrays, lighters, and matches. I did other things too, like exercising more, and it worked. But I'd still get cravings, especially on long car rides. To help me with that, I put a picture of my mother in my car. She died of lung cancer from smoking cigarettes when I was only 16. Now I have a 16-year-old daughter. That picture of my mother reminds me that I don't want to miss all the things my daughter is going to do in her life, including turning 17.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
Welcome back to Romberg and Korge. To reach out to the fellas, dial 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Here's Romberg and Korge.
The fish is swimming upstream. There we go. Look at that, man. Ooh, that smell.
Yeah, it's definitely going upstream.
There's
no doubt about it.
It's going upstream here on the Romberg and Korge Show. Thanks for joining us. And so, Mr. Romberg, I want to shift gears just a little bit after that out of control call from almost Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's cool. That's not bad. That Arnold Carr's it's what, our second weekend, and we got already somebody famous like him calling
Arnold. Who knows?
What are the chances?
Yeah, I mean, who knows what else? We might even get a ghost calling us pretty soon. You never know. But I wanted to switch gears a little bit. I know we're in the midst of all the exciting college football playoff season. We're at the tail end of the NFL season, and maybe we'll talk a little NFL and Dolphins after this segment. But tomorrow starts the beginning of the Miami Heat season, and the NBA's, they're lacing them back up and they're getting on the hard court starting tomorrow as the Heat travel up to Orlando to start the season against the Magic. And then, of course, we've got that noon start against Zion and the New Orleans
Pelicans,
basketball team here in Miami at the American Airlines Arena. Or actually, what is the arena called now?
I thought this happened last year, right? Lucky for them, the whole COVID gave them a break a little bit, because wasn't American Airlines on the hook? And then this was maybe even before that. This might even have been a couple years ago where, wasn't it Bang Brothers or Bang Bus or whatever the hell their name was?
It was last season. You're right.
They were looking to go ahead and put $10 million on the naming rights.
What happened was the first of the year, almost a year ago, the first January 1st of 2020, to show you how bad 2020 was going to be, the American Airlines contract for the naming rights to the arena expired, and the county or the county didn't renew it. I don't remember the exact parameters of it, but their name has stayed on there since then.
Got a free year of advertising.
I guess so.
Even when nobody was flying, that sucks.
Yeah, imagine.
That's unbelievable.
But so they start the season then on Christmas Day at home against New Orleans Pelicans and Zion. And I'm wondering, I wanted to get your impression, and I have sort of a question in my mind as an ex-professional athlete, how the dynamics of a team might change if the Heat does, which it's reported they're not going to do, what some had thought they might, which is trade for James Harden and from the Houston.
Well, that's another thing which I found super weird in learning about basketball and covering the Miami Heat when I was over with Entercom. There was, they're very transparent. Basketball is, in terms of trying to deal away their players. Football, you don't really see that. It's all done behind closed doors. But I've seen literally guys that have played games knowing that they were already dealt away or done with, or they've had conversations already about getting traded and trying to find out what their value might be.
Right.
And it even happened here with the Miami Heat a couple of times. Remember with Deion Waiters and that situation. So I've always been shocked at granted, the checks aren't going to change. That obviously will soothe a lot going into it. But God, man, when an organization just doesn't want you anymore, it's disheartening. You know what I mean? And I don't know what kind of stance you could take for it. You could be the bitter person or understand that it's a business. In my earlier part of my career, I found out quick as hell how much of a business it really is. And you're just a chess piece, to be honest with you, and a very, very big mastermind. At that point in time, I think the NFL was an $8 billion a year industry that had climbed all the way to like 15 or 16 billion now. But realizing that you are such a worthless commodity, you really are. You are a piece of meat. You're a piece of. I'll give you Black Angus beef. I wouldn't give you Wagyu status. You know what I mean? That's for like the upper echelon. Yes. But for the most part, the majority of the NFL players are just Black Angus. They're a tradable commodity. Sometimes the price goes up, sometimes it goes down, but there's always another piece of beef that they can go ahead and substitute and supplement in for you. And it's pretty disheartening to see something like that. But basketball is a whole different animal. You're dealing with, what is it, like 15 guys on a team or 13 guys or something like that. Much bigger salaries. We're talking, obviously when you're dealing with some of the monster deals that have happened as of recent, like Giannis being one of them. Paul George was another one. There was a couple big deals that have already hit the wire. 230 million, I believe, was Giannis's 228 to be exact. And seeing that, the largest contract ever in NBA history, and you're thinking, and that's for how many years now? That's not like, what was the one that just signed the quarterback in the NFL that just signed it? Mahomes.
Mahomes, yeah.
$200 million deal.
Right.
For a decade.
Yes.
A decade. And how much of that was guaranteed? Maybe 100 and change. How much is guaranteed of the basketball 228?
All of it.
228.
Right, all of it.
For what, 5 years, 6 years,
Yeah,
or something like that? It's a half of the situation of what's going on. And and again, yes, I understand 17 weeks versus, the 82 games in an NBA season, which usually follows by some playoffs games. But golly, man, that's a hell of a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
I wonder, though, first off, your impression just of the idea of breaking up a team that made it to the NBA Finals.
Well, the piece that they were looking for was obviously Tyler Hero, right? That's what everybody wanted. They wanted the young buck that was possibly going to be a valuable situation. Everybody realized that, Bam was off the table because Bam just got smoke paid crazy. Shout out to Bam for doing that. And then they just gave, who did they give a nice little extension to? They gave an extension to somebody else. But anyway, you got Jimmy Butler, who's obviously going to be a staple, and he's going to be a Heat lifer now for the rest of his time in the NBA. Bam Adebayo, and you got the two young bucks, Strokinson, which is Duncan Robinson, and you got your boy Drip, which is Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero, as much as we all love him down here, I believe he's the hot commodity. He's the one that the Miami Heat could possibly, get a really good trade for and get something happening for. But the thing is I think both Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra have been guilty by fault, and they've been guilty in the past of rewarding guys that have put their heart and soul into this program. And I believe that that's the way that the Miami Heat operate. That's the way that the Arisons run their division. That's the way that it trickles down throughout, whatever it's Carnival or it's the Miami Heat organization. It's a big family, and they almost have like a sense of loyalty to a lot of their employees and to a lot of their players that is not the same throughout the rest of the NBA. And I feel like the same thing that they rewarded those Jamoke G League basketball players with their big contracts and extensions that kind of handcuffed them last year and the year before, I feel that they're probably going to end up doing the same thing. And I'm a believer that I don't see them doing the same thing that they did last year with the same guys, same roster. I felt like, just like you, that the bubble was an anomaly, that it made things work out a lot better and in favor of the Miami Heat because of the way that they run their organization. But I feel ultimately that we need another tool. We need another piece to that puzzle, man. Like, we need something big. And the Harden thing, Miami Heat announcing that they're totally out of the negotiations now with James Harden, he wasn't going to fit here anyway.
That's the way I see it. I don't see him as a
not
fit
a Miami
here.
Heat culture guy.
I wonder, though, and really the question that I have that I think you maybe, and granted, football is a larger roster. It's a different dynamic, but I wonder how that talk affects the guys in the locker room.
It's awkward, man.
Is it?
Oh, totally awkward. The total and the amount of, well, first of all, the amount of time that you spend with those guys that are in that locker room, and I imagine basketball is way more intimate, especially the way the Miami Heat got their stuff set up is everything's circular in there. They're all facing each other. You can see everybody. Where in football, you got lockers on the other side of the room. You got stuff in the middle dividing it out. You got stuff near the training room. So sometimes you don't even get to see some of the guys on your team.
Right.
Basketball is a different story. And intimate private jet travel and all that other stuff where everybody's sitting in a captain's chair and it's all honky-dory. And then you go travel the country for a couple days at a time, multiple days a week, and you develop some really good, tight relationships. Hence the fact that, Deion Waiters and Buddy were taking drugs on the way back from that one trip, getting lifted. It was who was it? It was the karate one. Who was on the team?
You're talking about Johnson.
Yes.
James Johnson.
James.
Yeah.
And they got in a little bit of trouble for that, but whatever. I feel like it's a weird and awkward situation for players. It's almost like guys getting hurt. You know what I mean? The way that players react. If you watch players immediately after a serious injury on the football field, everybody's really timid. Everybody's nervous. Everybody's still fixated on the fact that they just saw this guy's knee turn around and spin around and his foot, and they watch the replay, and some guys are crying, some guys are throwing up. And it's very similar when guys are either cut, dealt away, or traded away, where you understand there's a business that needs to be had, but you also understand that, that guy's kids were in school with your kids, and that guy's wife used to hang out or hangs out with your wife, and now they have to go do a whole new meet and greet somewhere else in some other city. The whole money thing at that point in time, it becomes so irrelevant. And that's what people like to fixate on, is the fact that, he's going to make millions. He'll be fine. It takes a toll. It really does take a toll on a family, on a mother, on kids that need to meet friends. It very much so humanizes people emotionally, I guess you could say, when they're dealt away or traded away as if they were a commodity or a car.
So you're a player in the Miami Heat locker room. Let's say you're Duncan Robinson. Let's use that as an example. And you keep hearing this, well, the team might be considering this trade, and your name is one of the names that's mentioned in going the other way.
And your agent is aware, because I imagine Pat Riley is pretty transparent. He'll let his agent know, look, this is the situation. This is what we have on the board. So make sure you prepare Duncan to understand that this might be a possibility.
Now, do you think that has a effect on a player like Robinson moving forward, or are you guys professionals and you can put it behind you quickly?
Well, as young as he is, I don't know. Like they're what, 22 years old at that point?
Young guys.
And you got
he might be a few years older, but then yes.
Then you got Tyler Hero, who's only 20.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that kind of situation's up with Tyler. It's like, so what happens when the deal falls through, which has happened multiple times in the NBA, where the current team that you're on, they're clearly trying to deal you away. But then all of a sudden, the other team that they're trying to deal you away with decides to go, yeah, he ain't worth it. So now you got one team that you're supposed to go to that doesn't think you're worth it, and the one that you're currently on thinks that you're worth enough to go ahead and trade away. So you're almost the redheaded stepchild now with the current situation that you're in. And my guess is the following year, you're going to be looking to make a move. And that's where you're going to get the disgruntled athlete that wants to be out of his current situation. And you'll hear that come across the ticker all the time on dun-dun-dun, this guy wants out. And it's usually because of the situation that happened about 8 months earlier, where a team wanted to deal you away.
Well, again, the Miami Heat season starts tomorrow night, 7 p.m. start at Orlando. I wonder, there was such just a great dynamic and chemistry amongst this team. We saw it in the bubble. I sort of agree as you do, Brett, that it was maybe an outlier as far as they got last year because of the fact that they had a certain culture that I thought lent itself for being in a bubble the way they were. Right. But I wonder if this talk about, going after a guy like James Harden, who I completely agree with you, I think would be not fit the chemistry of the Miami Heat. He doesn't really play a lot of defense, or hasn't been known to be a great defender. Right. The ball in his hand is bounce, step back and three. Right.
Yeah.
And so, I wonder if this is just the conversation of this mentally is going to hurt the team out of the gate.
Well, the one thing that I really paid attention to was, I've seen this brought up on social media quite a bit now, and it's Pat Riley saying, yeah, you could be an MVP and you could be a scoring leader and you could hold a bunch of records. But if you're not a champion, then what the hell's it all for? And I feel like you can tell that the Miami Heat are building championships. They're building champions, whether that's a collective group of really good guys that can make the unit great and gel together, or you can have what's going on out there in Milwaukee, where you have a 2-time defensive MVP award winner who's just going to stay up in Milwaukee and freeze his balls off for the next, I don't know how many years, 5 years. And I imagine he might have the 1 year to opt out at the very end. But it's like, you took the money, you sold your soul now. You probably are not going to win any kind of championships, but you're going to be a hell of a great basketball player in your career. And you could put that on your tombstone that you were at one point the highest paid basketball player, but you never won a championship. So I'm a big, and especially with me with the University of Miami, coming from a university where at that point in time, we were a bunch of no-name guys that collectively created something super special and became champions and considered one of the greatest college football teams ever assembled. So I'm more of that vernacular that Pat Riley is trying to build, as opposed to being really good all by myself.
Well, interesting stuff. You said something a moment ago that I want to sort of pick your brain on after the break. It was very interesting, something you just said, but you know where Heat fans get the best insight on the team? That's right here with Ethan Skolnick from 5 Reason Sports daily from 10 to 11 a.m. on OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to Romberg and Korge. Take Onside Radio your home for sports talk everywhere with the MyTuner Radio app. Find the app at OnsideRadio.com.
Can I get a captain?
Captain and what?
Captain and Ginger.
I can't hear you.
Captain and Ginger.
He was a captain and ginger, captain and ginger. He was a captain and ginger.
Captain Morgan, official partner of Major League Soccer.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. First responders are people who stand for a greater purpose. They will be there for you when nobody else is, to help you, your family, your community. This is their selfless promise. This is their sworn duty to protect, to serve, to help. They put themselves in harm's way for us. They come to the rescue at times when we need them most. First responders are making enormous personal sacrifices to keep showing up for us and fighting the good fight. Nearly 70% of all firefighters are volunteers. That means when they get injured or quarantined, they may not have a way to pay their rent or keep their family safe and fed. No matter who you are or where you live, when you call 911 and ask for help, first responders show up. Now, let's show up for the people who show up for us every day and every night.
Go to firstrcf.org and make a difference today.
Every 2 minutes, a woman in the U.S. is diagnosed with breast cancer. And in that moment in time, her life changes forever. We're fighting alongside patients because we know one moment can change a lifetime.
Hey, it's Big O. Catch the Onside Zone daily from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. No better place to get the insight you want on the teams you love, from the Dolphins to Inter Miami and everything in between. Hey, it's Orlando Alzagari. Listen, podcast, stay connected to the show that bleeds South Florida sports every day from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. only at OnsideRadio.com.
At Baptist Health, we are ready
To serve, to treat.
to safely proceed with your procedure.
We're ready for ER visits and office visits with skilled surgeons, advanced medicine, and multidisciplinary teams. We're ready for new arrivals
and new recoveries.
We are ready.
We're ready to diagnose, treat, and manage
anything that comes our way.
with exceptional care and comfort.
With the same preparedness and compassion you've come to expect from Baptist Health.
And we are ready.
We're ready.
We're ready
to care for you.
We live in challenging times, and we understand you have questions about how you're going to take care of your family and yourself. Well, you can trust the Publix is doing everything possible to help. Our stores continue to be open. We're busy restocking as quickly as we can. But please remember to think of others as you shop for the week ahead. This will give your friends and neighbors the opportunity to get what they need as well. Our supply chains are strong. Deliveries are being made throughout the day, and our associates are here every step of the way. It's not always going to be perfect, but together we'll make it through this. So let's be safe. Let's be calm. Let's be kind. Visit Publix.com for all the latest information.
Welcome back to Romberg and Korge. To reach out to the guys, send a text to 844-416-8123. That's 844-416-8123. This is Romberg and Korge on Onside Radio.
This moment, you got yourself.
Back with Romberg and Korge. I don't even know this music.
What is this? He's trying to go in for a loop.
I think he
I can
is.
figure it out, but
Well, thanks for joining us at Romberg and Korge here. And you know, Brett, you made a comment in that last segment that made me think, and I've never heard that comment anywhere before. But you were saying that after like a serious injury on the field, that the players sort of back off a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, man. You take a play or two off after that happens.
Really?
Because it becomes reality. You're rolling, like you're literally playing smash up derby on that football field. It's considered, you know, depending on how many plays you're running a game, you're doing 70, 75 car accidents a day. That's ultimately what you're doing. And some of them are a lot more violent than others, but then it becomes reality. Like, think about it. Men are evolving, and whether it's diet, whether it's working out more efficiently, productively, maintaining your physical stature, whatever it could possibly be that is creating these specimens, these Derek freaking Metcalfs that are out there in Seattle looking like they're goddamn Adonises catching football.
He's incredible.
Guys are trying to cheap shot him and they're getting up limping like that. Like, you know, the body type that I'm referring to.
Yes.
And it just becomes reality that we're not superhuman when you all of a sudden have a guy that goes to hit another guy and all of a sudden he's not moving. He can't move. He's looking up at you on the ground saying, I can't move my arms and I can't move my legs. Or you look down and you see his foot and it's spun around. Or a hyperextended, dislocated elbow that's facing the other way. Once you see those and it becomes real, it's different. Like, I've always been able to watch the videos of like people getting injured or faces of death or the drug lords that are in Mexico or the Brazilian things that, like, the things that people do to each other over there. I used to be able to tolerate that stuff. But then once I saw like guys' fingers get bent backwards and elbows and feet and knees, I watched 3 or 4. Hell, Willis McGahee. I still haven't watched that to this day.
So let me ask you. So that you got me right to where I was thinking, which is amazing, actually. What I was thinking is you're playing in a national championship game against Ohio State, and Willis McGahee has an injury that, by all accounts, is one of the most gruesome and graphic injuries I've ever seen in a football game.
Still haven't seen it.
You haven't?
Still have not watched it. I can't watch it
So,
because I'm the guy out on the screen trying to block that guy.
Right.
If you watch that game, and I've never really told a lot of people this before, and when I did it with ESPN this year, I've never divulged that play. That was supposed to be my guy. I was supposed to hit that guy.
Ooh.
So I'm out on the screen diving to hit that guy, but he read the play early and he dipped underneath, and I tried to dive to hit him, and he dove up underneath me and dove into Willis's leg. It was a dirty play on his part. Like, it really was. Like, he was diving to avoid me hitting him, but at the same time, he dove into Willis's knee. And I just remember everybody going, oh, like the O's kind of thing. Once
the O's and ahs,
once that breaks out, and I'm rolling around, and I turn around and I look, and Willis is like, like rolling around on the ground. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And then all of a sudden, you know, the cart comes out for Willis or whatever. I don't even remember how he ended up getting off the football field. And I go to the sideline, and Kehoe's looking at me, and I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, Willis is done. And I'm like, is he out for the game? And he goes, oh, he's out. Like, I'm like, the face that he gave me was, he's out forever. Like, he's never playing football ever again.
Wow.
And when I saw that, I was just like, holy shit, who do we got now? Like, and I'm thinking of like, okay, we got Peyton back there. Like, I'm wondering Frank Gore, like what's this? Frank Gore blew his knee out earlier. Like, I'm wondering, okay, what's the next step? And the minute that happened with him, it was pretty deflating on that sideline. We weren't playing well at that point in time anyway. We kept screwing up on a bunch of shit. And the fact that Willis was done, I was like, oh boy, really bad. And then
does it deflate the game though for a few plays?
Totally.
Even a game at that level, you're playing for a national friggin' championship.
Yeah. It's for the ones that seen it, because you know, you come back to the sideline and then all the guys are like, oh my God, did you see his knee? Did you see his knee? You got the kids that weren't on the field that are telling you, did you see his knee? Did you see his knee? And I'm like, no. And they're like, oh my God, his knee went backwards. It bent the other way, the way it's supposed to.
It was gruesome.
Forward. And I'm sitting there, I'm just like, holy shit. Okay, so now you're trying to get your mind right to get back to play. So luckily we got off the field at that point in time. But there's been other instances in NFL games where guys just aren't moving, or their faces caved in because on a play they ran down the field and ran into another 300-pound man at full speed, and the helmet compacted so much against their face that the cushion went out of it, the air went out of it, and they destroyed their eye socket and cheekbone. So their whole face is caved in. And all of a sudden you're looking at them and their face is caved in and their eyes kind of funky because the whole orbital bone is shattered, and they pull their helmet off and then like it almost looks like they're having a stroke. So you're sitting there looking at that? Oh yeah, man. One of our running backs when I was with the Rams, he did to a Detroit Lions player went off on a stretcher. O'Neal went off on the field giggling and laughing as his face looked like it was like, almost having a stroke. And he came back with a metal plate in his face and played the remainder of the season, like 4 or 5, which was ridiculous to me. So I've seen like in one game I'll never forget this, playing against the Dolphins, and I never really got nervous about ankles or knees or anything. But one game playing against the Dolphins down here, we came down here to play you guys, and I saw 3 feet get spun around.
Wow.
Like total dislocation of the ankle, snap the tibia, and the feet are facing the other way. I've seen 3 in the one game. And at that point in time, I didn't even want to go back on the football field. I'm just like, I know this is going to happen to me. It's going to happen to me. It's going to happen to me. Sure enough, later on in my career, it happened to me. But not on that instance. But yeah, man, I've always been very tolerant to injury. And then once you see it happen in front of you for real and realize that, yeah, it could just as easily happen to you too, that's when it's a different game. And then all of a sudden, you and the guy that you're going against, it gets a little bit softer and easier. It's like fake patty cake kind of stuff going on the offensive line.
And how long would that last typically?
Probably a good couple plays until, even you could tell watching it on TV nowadays, the announcers, it gets a little morbid, guy gets carted off, you go to commercial break, you come back in, and the coach, God bless him, usually on the offensive coordinator side of things, will call some bullshit rollout bootleg play where it allows guys to go sideways on the offensive and defensive line, so nobody's really going to get hurt, and it allows the quarterback to roll out independently to try to throw a football to get things going again.
Gotcha.
You'll never call some kind of funky, complicated power physical play immediately after an injury because guys are too timid. It's just the nature of the beast. They're just all of a sudden nervous now that it could happen to them. You'll see guys kind of tiptoeing around a little bit more on the offensive and defensive lines because they're worried about somebody falling on their knee and blowing out their knee because that happens all the time. And it's a different atmosphere. It just changes. It's almost like the air gets sucked out of a building. And when you're playing in like massive places like Jerry Jones World and those kind of things, and all of a sudden Superdomes, the Saints, yeah, even with the Falcons, like it's a deflating situation. We were playing against, I think it was the Packers or something like that, and somebody got seriously hurt bad, and I was like, holy shit, here we go. And it's just like the air gets sucked out of the building.
And as much as you might dislike a certain player, no player really wants
you never
to
want to
see
wish.
any of
No,
that.
no, you don't wish. Well, you wish injury to the point where they're done for the day.
Right.
Not done for the week or the year, just done for the day, just enough to get them the hell off the football field and not be a factor in this kind of game. Yeah, but you never wish serious injury upon another guy. Like you just, unless you're just an evil freaking person, you don't do that. You don't do that at all. But God, yeah, that injury thing it sucks. It really sucks. It's unfortunate. That's one of the things that you could probably say about professional sports, whether it's guys popping Achilles, quad muscles rolling up into the middle of their thigh, that kind of stuff. It's a really unfortunate situations. The no contact ones are the ones that really suck and usually are the worst ones, to be honest.
And it probably makes you feel a little vulnerable when you see it.
And the older you get, you're watching it, you're like, oh, damn, the young kid just had that happen. I wonder how I'm going to hold up kind of thing. So, yeah, it definitely puts some voices in the back of your head for sure.
Well, there was a death in the NFL family this week.
I know.
We're going to talk.
Man.
It is one somebody you were talking about just the other day, which was.
I better, it's that freaking witch that I keep sleeping with on the side,
must
man.
be something.
I got to stop mentioning names.
It must be something. I don't know what it is, but want to talk about that and what effect that has during our last segment, what effect that has to people in the NFL family when they hear of a loss such as the one we're going to talk about in the next segment. Weekdays, catch the most complete soccer show in South Florida as Kaylin Kyle hosts Inside Football on your home for all sports, OnsideRadio.com.
You're listening to Romberg and Korge. Take Onside Radio your home for sports talk everywhere with the MyTuner Radio app. Find the app at OnsideRadio.com.
I'm Ryan Seacrest. First responders are people who stand for a greater purpose. They will be there for you when nobody else is, to help you, your family, your community. This is their selfless promise. This is their sworn duty to protect, to serve, to help. They put themselves in harm's way for us. They come to the rescue at times when we need them most. First responders are making enormous personal sacrifices to keep showing up for us and fighting the good fight. Nearly 70% of all firefighters are volunteers. That means when they get injured or quarantined, they may not have a way to pay their rent or keep their family safe and fed. No matter who you are or where you live, when you call 911 and ask for help, first responders show up. Now, let's show up for the people who show up for us every day and every night.
Go to firstrcf.org and make a difference today.
At Baptist Health, we are ready
To serve. To treat.
to safely proceed with your procedure.
We're ready for ER visits and office visits with skilled surgeons, advanced medicine,
and multidisciplinary teams.
We're ready for new arrivals.
Our new recoveries.
We are ready.
We're ready to diagnose, treat, and manage
anything that comes our way
with exceptional care and comfort.
With the same preparedness and compassion you've come to expect from Baptist Health.
And we are ready.
We're ready.
We're ready
to care for you.
We live in challenging times, and we understand you have questions about how you're going to take care of your family and yourself. Well, you can trust the Publix is doing everything possible to help. Our stores continue to be open. We're busy restocking as quickly as we can. But please remember to think of others as you shop for the week ahead. This will give your friends and neighbors the opportunity to get what they need as well. Our supply chains are strong. Deliveries are being made throughout the day, and our associates are here every step of the way. It's not always going to be perfect, but together we'll make it through this. So let's be safe. Let's be calm. Let's be kind. Visit Publix.com for all the latest information.
Every 2 minutes, a woman in the U.S. is diagnosed with breast cancer. And in that moment in time, her life changes forever. We're fighting alongside patients because we know one moment can change a lifetime.
Hey, it's Big O. Catch the Onside Zone daily from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. No better place to get the insight you want on the teams you love, from the Dolphins to Inter Miami and everything in between. Hey, it's Orlando Alzagari. Listen, podcast, stay connected to the show that bleeds South Florida sports every day from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. only at OnsideRadio.com.
I'm Tiffany. I have some tips for you on how to quit smoking like I did. First, I did some reading about it. I found a lot of great advice on how to quit smoking and picked out the ways I thought would work best for me. I started by setting a quit date. Then I threw out my ashtrays, lighters, and matches. I did other things too, like exercising more, and it worked. But I'd still get cravings, especially on long car rides. To help me with that, I put a picture of my mother in my car. She died of lung cancer from smoking cigarettes when I was only 16. Now I have a 16-year-old daughter. That picture of my mother reminds me that I don't want to miss all the things my daughter is going to do in her life, including turning 17.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
Welcome back to Romberg and Korge. To reach out to the fellas, dial 888-441-4623. That's 888-441-4623. Here's Romberg and Korge.
Big pimpin', baby. And it's
Welcome back to Romberg and Korge. That's your stuff, man. It brings a smile to your face.
That's the boats and hose right there, man.
That's it.
Like literally, when I was with the Falcons, I rented a giant houseboat and threw a boats and hose party.
Really?
But you know, the hose were all the spouses, so you can't really be like, can't be like a real legit. It's not like a Bryant McKinney party, like the one that he got in trouble with in Minnesota Vikings. That's a whole different boats and hose.
Yeah, that was
my boats and hose was like legitimately guys, their girlfriends and their wives. So, and not in a mixture of the both. It's just either or. So yeah,
where does one do that in Atlanta?
Lake Lanier.
Oh, Lake Lanier.
Lake
that's
Lanier.
right.
We're basically located, and I know the facility is located up in Flowery Branch, and then you go about 20 minutes south, and it's Lake Lanier, and then another 30 minutes basically to downtown Atlanta area. So, but yeah, man, we did a nice little big party. Is that contradictory? A little big party, but it was like drinking games, getting sloshed, lighting fires like we were Lord of the Flies on the island. It was fun, man.
It's kind of like jumbo shrimp. Yeah, it's
very similar.
But you're right. So what was your favorite place to play? Does it matter which city you were in as a professional athlete? Does it really matter?
City wise, I probably had better fun city wise in Atlanta. People wise, I probably had better fun people wise in St. Louis, and hated Jacksonville.
Really? Okay, and what's there to like? Well, you were in Jacksonville.
That's a good question.
Did the city still smell back then?
Yeah. It was in the morning. It was Maxwell House because they were, obviously making coffee there, and then just all day, every day, it was Confederate flags and F all to do. Just nothing to do, man. We ended up developing Cruise Day Tuesday. We all went out and got motorcycles, and on Tuesdays, our day off before Ben Roethlisberger ruined it for everybody. We used to go out and do the Cruise Day Tuesday thing. So it was like me, Fred Taylor, Chris Naoli, Byron Leftwich, Jimmy Smith. I know I'm mentioning some old school names, but we would literally be rolling around on Atlantic Beach up like, what's that area called? The golf area over there in Jacksonville on the far Ponce. Is it Ponce?
Ponte Vedra?
Ponte Vedra, that's what it is. Yeah, we'd be rolling up and down there and all down like, the main Beach Avenue and all that stuff. Yeah, we'd be doing that on the motorcycles.
When something like that happens and a guy as prominent as Ben Roethlisberger gets in an accident on a motorcycle, does that pollute the well for everybody?
Yeah, we had a meeting the very next day.
Really?
Yeah, Jack Del Rio said, "Hey boys, gonna have to put something into the contracts now. You're not allowed to be riding motorcycles. And for those of you that are out there, I know you are riding motorcycles around town. This will be the last year you're going to be doing that." So they can't literally tell you not to do something, but then all of a sudden, when that company wants to put it claused in your contract that you shouldn't be riding motorcycles, then it becomes a real thing. So it was like a back-to-back between Ben Roethlisberger and then Kellen Winslow. And Kellen Winslow just took it to a whole freaking different. Kellen Winslow's never ridden a motorcycle in his life. Gets this crotch rocket sent to the Cleveland Browns facility, and he's on the Cleveland Browns security camera trying to pop wheelies in a parking lot.
And he's never ridden a motorcycle.
In his life. Slams into a tree, shatters his leg, the whole situation. It was just like, Jesus.
Well,
man. we all know how that ended up.
Yeah,
right?
we know he's a little crazy there, that Kellen Winslow Jr. But I want to just mention before we part a great NFL player and someone who's just a pleasure to watch all those years, Kevin Green.
Yeah, man. The reason why I think I probably became a Steeler fan.
Really?
Yeah, he's between him and Greg Lloyd. Like I said before on the show, I think it was one of our first shows. I said that my two favorite players growing up were, Kevin Green and Greg Lloyd. And Kevin Green was the lunatic, long blonde-haired guy, the white dude that played / linebacker, defensive end on the one side, and Lloyd was the other one on the other side, man. And man, that ebony and ivory combination. And then Kevin Green was berserker. He played multiple years after the Steelers, if I'm not mistaken, Arizona, probably with the Rams for a while.
Yeah. I think the Panthers, the Carolina Panthers.
He finished out of Carolina, I believe. Just ridiculous, man. I know he's like up there in the charts too. I think Tommy said he's like third of all time.
Yeah, sacks.
Third all time in sacks with 160 behind Bruce Smith and Reggie White.
And then he passed. What was it? Yesterday or today? Did he pass away?
Yesterday.
Man.
Yeah. Does the NFL? Do people? The players, former players, not just players that played with them, but do they think about that? Does it concern you? A guy 58. They haven't reported how he passed away, but a lot of players pass away at young ages.
I'm already nervous as is because my family tree, we're normally 55 and out is when we kind of check out, and then. My dad was an anomaly. He lived till 59, the whopping age of 59. But yeah, I already had the Widowmaker. So I already had my 3 stents put in my heart. I had that when I was like 33 years old. So I might be on borrowed time. Who knows? You know what I mean? I feel like the way that my brain works and the way that my head works, I already told a bunch of people this. I don't remember shit. Like memories wise, the reason why I end up like coming up with a lot of these stories all the time. We have story time is because I usually tell these stories as much as possible so I can remember them because they're freaking awesome. I've forgotten so many damn stories, and I've forgotten places that I've been. There used to be times where my wife and I would literally pick a place on a map annually and say, okay, we're going to go here for our off season. And there was a couple years where I would pick a place and she's like, we just went there. We went there like 2 years ago, or we've already been there 3 years ago, or whatever it was. And no recollection. I don't remember my senior year of high school. I don't remember the Rose Bowl. Just a lot of the stories that continually be told. And even the Fiesta Bowl for that matter. I have a hard time remembering a lot of that as well. So NFL game, whether it's like the scrambled eggs thing or, that whole situation, who knows? But I feel like it's a built-in marital excuse, I guess you could say. I kind of got the built-in marital excuse.
You got that going.
Did I not tell you that? And I'm like, I don't know. I remember it.
I don't remember.
It's kind of a built-in.
Well, I want you to remember one thing, Brett Romberg, and that is this show at 6 p.m.
Tomorrow night, right?
Tomorrow night, before we end the week tomorrow.
I think we're going to get shitty, too.
It's our pre-Noche Buena party.
Yeah, it might be. It's the Noche Buena party that we're going to be having here at Community.
Well, and then maybe we should get Joaquin back. But I want to thank Joaquin Gonzalez, your former running mate there at the University of Miami during those national championship years. Want to thank Joaquin and, of course, Chris Merritt, Coach Bryant University, former Christopher Columbus
18 years, man.
high school coach for 18 years, for coming in today. Want to thank you for listening. We'll be back again tomorrow with Romberg and Korge. Join us tomorrow here on OnSideRadio.com because you are listening to the only locally owned sports station in South Florida, OnSideRadio.com.